This month's NFL draft marking a return to normalcy after last year's Zoom draft. Cleveland hosting a draft with plenty of storylines and potentially franchise-changing quarterbacks. The top pick appears to be a slam dunk, with the Jags getting ready to scoop up Trevor Lawrence. But there are 4 other quarterbacks potentially landing in the top 10. The 49ers already traded up to number 3 to get one, and there's still time for someone else to make a move toward the top of the board. But there's plenty of offensive firepower outside the quarterback position as well, with Kyle Pitts potentially becoming the first tight end drafted top 5 in nearly a half century. And it's another loaded wide receiver class with Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. One of the safest picks in the top 10 will likely be the behemoth left tackle Penei Sewell out of Oregon. And in a position that's been devalued by some over the years, a pair of supremely talented running backs, Travis Etienne and Najee Harris, could both be off the board before day 2. As far as the other side of the ball goes, no clear consensus for the first defensive player to come off the board, but there's plenty of high-end talent. The 2021 NFL Draft is almost here.
All right, congratulations to everyone, especially Ryan Wilson. We have, in fact, made it to draft week. His work actually isn't done. This is his second to last mock draft. Taking a look at this one, a couple things here we're going to get into. The Patriots moving up for a quarterback, the Cowboys moving down, and then somehow the Cowboys landing the Bucs pick at 32. Welcome in our draft expert, the guy who is HQ over the next week, the one and only Ryan Wilson. You pretty much are. You're going to be on every show. Let's start with the 49ers at 3 in your latest mock draft. Okay, so the latest reports, they're focused on Mac Jones or Trey Lance. Odds now have Mac Jones minus 200, Trey Lance plus 230, Justin Fields has dropped to plus 400, and you, Ryan, have them taking Mac Jones.
Yeah, I'm all in on Mac Jones. That's where I'm planting the flag right now. And we don't know what's going to happen. That's not what you want to hear your draft analysts say, but that's the reality of it. You can look back a few years when no one knew that Baker Mayfield was going to go first overall. Everyone thought it was Sam Darnold right up to the moment that it was Baker Mayfield. And that's how it feels after we get past 1 and 2. We're certain about Trevor Lawrence. We feel pretty good about Zach Wilson. But what is Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch going to do there at 3? I just feel like Mac Jones fits what Kyle Shanahan wants. Now, Kyle Shanahan wants to upgrade what he's been most successful with, and that's Matt Ryan. Maybe you do graduate to a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields, and I get that. But I just keep coming back to all the things that Mac Jones has done well. And a lot of it, the concerns are he doesn't move that well, doesn't run that well, doesn't have a great arm, but he is so smart. And I think at times the comparisons to Jimmy G is a lazy one, to be frank, in part because we've seen Shanahan frustrated with what Jimmy G wasn't able to do. I think he gets over that hump with Mac Jones. So he feels like the right pick at 3. But again, I won't be shocked if come Thursday night at 8:25 or so, it's Trey Lance or Justin Fields.
Let's talk about the Patriots here and your latest mock, Ryan, because you have them making a move with the Dallas Cowboys, moving up to 10 to snag a quarterback in Trey Lance. So tell us about this deal in your mock draft.
Right. So, look, what did the Patriots do all offseason during free agency? They filled virtually every hole they had at every position except quarterback. They're bringing back Cam Newton on a 1-year deal. Last year wasn't a great year for Cam. He got COVID. He didn't have time to prepare because of the pandemic. You could even argue that he still wasn't 100%. So if they have one glaring need left, it would make sense that they might try to make a move to go get and fill that glaring need. The issue becomes, when are these quarterbacks coming off the board after 3? 3 quarterbacks will be gone. Who's remaining? Who's left standing? And how do the Patriots feel about whoever's left over? And I would imagine if one of these guys gets to 9 or 10, there are going to be several teams making calls about moving up. The issue is you're not going to be able to probably trade with the Falcons at 4. They're going to stay there. Maybe it's too prohibitive. The Bengals and Dolphins don't feel like they're moving down. Maybe the Lions are an option at 7. But at the end of the day, if you need a quarterback and you love someone like Trey Lance, who feels like maybe a more advanced version of Cam Newton coming out of college, which is pretty exciting, get him in New England, have him sit for a year behind Cam Newton, and then it's all systems go, and you're right back in the mix there in the AFC East, which is now, so funnily, it's the Bills' division, but that may not last long if Bill Belichick has his way.
Okay, with that move, the Cowboys then move back to 15. We know they want a corner. They would probably, or they will definitely find one there at 10. However, in this mock, they still find one there, and a very good one in J.C. Horn.
Right, so things get a little crazy. You know, we've heard reports that Jerry Jones wants to trade up perhaps because he loves Kyle Pitts. There's a long line of people who love Kyle Pitts, and I'm near the front of that line, I feel like. But I understand what Jerry Jones is thinking, but that's not a need for the Cowboys. You mentioned cornerback is a huge need. I did my 7-round mock draft last week, and Amanda, I will tell you, 31 fan bases actually liked it, which is sort of weird. The 32nd fan base hated it, and it was the Dallas Cowboys. So I thought I would make them happy, move around the draft board, get them some draft capital. I moved down for J.C. Horn, who may end up being the first cornerback off this board. He's incredibly physical. He's tall at 6'1" and change. He makes plays at the catch point. These are all things that the Cowboys desperately need. And if he's there at 15 and they're able to get some extra draft picks as a result, all the better. I would imagine that most Cowboys fans would be okay with this. And Jerry Jones, even though he doesn't get his guy in Kyle Pitts, at least is helping make that secondary better.
Wait, who are the Cowboys? What were they mad at you about, Ryan?
Well, I won't name the local radio host who actually tweeted at me and said something about he didn't like the idea of Gregory Rousseau going there in the second round, no doubt. And also, the Cowboys fans have talked themselves out of Andre Cisco, the safety out of Syracuse, who has 13 interceptions and probably will be a second-round or third-round guy.
Cowboys fans are just unhappy in general. All right, let's go. Let's keep moving on here. At one point, months ago, you actually didn't have a running back going into the first round. This mock, Najee Harris, cracking the top 20, going 18 overall to the Dolphins.
So this is where it starts in terms of the running back conversation. Our Jason LaConfora has been reporting for some time that the Dolphins, like Najee Harris, they have other needs here. They could go edge rusher. They could go offensive line. If they get a wide receiver at the top of the draft, they could even circle back and then try to find more help for Tua Tagovailoa. Because at the end of the day, if you're getting Jamar Chase at 6, and you can get Najee Harris, his former teammate, at 18, then he's out of excuses to his, and that offense should really start to hum. And Najee Harris, to me, is my running back 1. Travis Etienne is right there. Javonte Williams at UNC is just behind them. But if he gets past 18, I think Najee Harris will be gone by 24 when the Steelers are on the board. So this could be one of these weird first rounds where we see maybe even 2 running backs get drafted. But Najee Harris had that fantastic season in 2020. We know he can run the ball, but he's also a threat as a pass receiver, which makes life even easier for Tua Tagovailoa at the next level. And by the way, Najee Harris plus Jamar Chase upgrades those skill position players in Miami to such a degree that Tua, like I said, will be out of excuses, and you would almost expect him to have a much better sophomore season in Miami.
Ryan, you have the Cowboys making a lot of moves in this one, yet another one. So they traded with the Patriots moving up to 10, Cowboys down to 15, getting a couple more picks here. Now you have the Cowboys trading up from number 44 to 32. The Bucs in return get 44 and 75. So who do the Cowboys want at 32?
Trevon Merrick, the safety out of TCU. They have needs in the secondary. We've already talked about that. If you hate Andre Cisco, I like Andre Cisco, but if he's not your cup of tea, Trevon Merrick certainly has to be that. He is my safety 1. He's the safety 1 for a lot of teams and a lot of folks on the old Twitter machine there. So I think that fills 2 huge needs. You get your cornerback at 15 after trading down to get some draft capital. You trade up to the end of the first round because the Buccaneers don't have a lot of needs. And you get the best safety on the board. That secondary is suddenly transformed. And it needs to be, because while Dak Prescott's coming back, and that's great news, unless he's going to score 40 points a game, the defense has to get better in Dallas. They do that with their first 2 picks, and they can still have the draft capital, get an edge rusher if that's what they want to do on day 2, and I think that will be a priority for them as well.
Cowboys coming out of this with 2 first-round picks. We'll see what the fan base likes this time, Brian. We'll ask them. All right, so the Bucs are now at 44, and you have them taking a quarterback. I did the math. He is 21 years younger than Tom Brady, and this is a guy that Pete Prisco really likes, Davis Mills from Stanford.
That's right. Pete Prisco likes him actually a little more than I do. I think Davis Mills probably goes as the number 6 quarterback. Kellen Mond is my number 6 quarterback. But like I just said, the Buccaneers don't have a lot of holes to fill. They're bringing back literally everyone except Antonio Brown as we sit here, and he could potentially re-sign as well. So Ryan Griffin is the only quarterback currently on the roster not named Tom Brady, and his claim to fame at this point is shepherding Tom Brady off the booze cruise after the celebration back to dry land and making sure he didn't fall back in the water. So if you want to plan behind that, and assuming Tom Brady doesn't play forever, Davis Mills could be that guy. He could end up going in the middle, perhaps late second round. Only 11 starts at Stanford, but there's a lot to like about in terms of projecting him what he could be. So we don't know a lot because he hasn't played a lot, but good arm, moves well in the pocket, can run a little bit if you need him to, and the arrow is pointing up, as you like to say in draft circles. So I think he makes some sense here, given that the Buccaneers have checked virtually every other box in terms of coming back for 2021.
All right, so even though this is 44 in the second round, it would be the Bucs' first pick in this draft would be a quarterback. How do you think Mr. Brady's going to take to that?
Well, that's the other thing. The downside for Davis Mills, you mentioned he's 21 years younger. He could end up having a shorter career than Tom Brady because Tom Brady takes these things as slights, and he can go back into the rejuvenation chamber and play for another 10 years, which, again, is best-case scenario for the Buccaneers and their fans because he will be there forever as he continues to win Super Bowl after Super Bowl and somehow look younger each and every year.
All right, Ryan Wilson, congratulations on, 37? This 37 mock drafts?
Only 34, Amanda. One more to go.
Okay, one more to go. All right, Ryan Wilson, thank you so much. Looking forward to the other one. Make sure to download and follow the Pick Six podcast. It's everything you need to know about the NFL. Of course, getting closer to the draft, now just days away.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.